but not weak. Be bold, but not a bully. Be thoughtful, but not lazy. Be humble, but not timid. Be proud, but not arrogant. Have humor, but without folly. Good evening, all lovely folks and well-wishers. Shelley is back with another refreshing, infinite, rich, global power talk session with yet another amazing, dignified personality amongst us. Well, before we begin at the outset, let me give you a small briefing about REC, which is a versatile social media platform designed and developed under the aegis of Educos Unite of Scholars, backed by the global community of educators, mental health professionals, motivational leaders, and life skill trainers. Carrying a vision to connect the global educational community for exchange of ideas, diversifying situation-based learning, and having solution-based learning is what we keep striving for. Our vision and mission is to serve the educational fraternity, ranging from scholars to students with all possible solutions and opportunities to further enhance their skill sets. So, August gathering, get ready for the fresh, invigorating session with a special, multifaceted guest of ours, who is none other than somebody so special, and she is advisory board member and chief mentor of Educodes, host and brand ambassador of Rec Power Talks, and our director of Kids Captivation Karnataka. She is a global motivational speaker, international host, and moderator for international conferences, certified sales and leadership master trainer, life and business coach, youth mentor, and women catalyst. A unique leader, change maker, a truly passionate soul who believes in balancing all the spheres of life through work, life balance, and transforming divine best creations humans. Authored spatial management and mind skills related articles in leading newspapers like Dainik Jagran. She is a pro-human believer who never differentiates between the capabilities of humans, be it a man or a woman. She believes a woman needs to be stronger and more empowering, as they are the one who leads the chakras of life and creates the right balance. So here we go. Let me give the warm welcome to none other than Ma'am Sonesh Bhardwaj. Welcome to the platform, ma'am. The platform is all yours. But before we speak further, let me request the technical team to play the video for ma'am. The sound is not there in the video. Wow. Now that was an awesome video with Ma'am Sonesh Bhardwaj shining everywhere. So once again, good evening, ma'am, and a very warm welcome to our platform. The stage is all yours, and I request you to enlighten the audience with the precious words as you begin with the presentation of your leadership skills. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Dr. Shelley. I think the introduction which you have given and the enthusiasm which I was able to see through your wordings, through your body language, through your eyes was, I don't have words to explain it. Thank you so very much once again. And my heartiest thank you to REC Partech platform for giving this wonderful opportunity to highlight your experience, your sharings, your learnings, and whatever we can just empower people with. So Last but not the least, I definitely would love to thank also my all the viewers to join me on Sunday evening. As Sunday is slightly difficult to join, but I think you all take that patience to be here on this platform on Sunday. So a very warm welcome to all of you once again. And without further delay, let me take today's theme, what we are going to discuss about, or where I'm going to share my views on. Being into leadership role for almost good 15 years, all I have understood is all in and out of what we do when we talk about leadership. So for me, being a leader is a little like being a parent. Those who want to be great leaders must first understand that they can lead themselves. Self leadership involves demonstrating your self control and managing time and priorities well. Now, this dimension focuses on the five competencies as a leader, if I have to tell you, which can help you to lead yourself. Now, these competencies will majorly categorize into three areas: personal accountability, resiliency, and flexibility that gives you pretty much a roadmap to effective self leadership. Beforehand, if we have all these rosy visions of how we are going to do it, how incredible we are going to be, and how we will sidestep the mistakes that we see other people make. But when it's our turn to assume the role, we find that reality does not match our expectations or imaginations. Sad, but this is the fact of life. When we see things on other side, the grass always looks greener. My dear friends, the truth is really, really different. Like many in the working world, leaders have too much to do and not enough time to do it. Desperate to look effective, they race around like headless chickens and don't clearly think through their priorities and strategies. And being in a position of power causes them to assume that the people beneath them will take care of a lot of problems. If you look to lead, my dear friends, learn a simple principle: invest at least 40% of your time managing yourself. I'm sure you must be wondering what I'm talking right now. Leaders typically always is being a title oriented term where most of us we think it's all about managing people, going and managing tasks, going and managing objectives, going and managing probably XYZ things as a leader. But let me tell you, a real leader is someone who knows first how to lead themselves. Because today, if you can't lead yourself in the most successful manner, I'm so sorry, empowering others will become very, very challenging. So, if you really want to enjoy this wonderful title called leadership in a real practical term, start focusing on your key areas first. Because it's my belief, and as like any other successful leader believes, if you are powerful in yourself, definitely you bring that persona of high empowering people. And that's where we create right leaders. We don't create followers anymore. Irony of life, today, though we talk a lot about leadership, creating leaders just driven by passion, but the fact is we end up by creating only followers. So where we are missing. So today I'm going to share a three-piece mechanism which really can bring those changes in you if you're really looking out to lead the way you should be. And ultimately, you want to bring that change in whosoever is getting associated with you whenever they are either working with you or they are directly or indirectly being a part of some team which you are looking out to lead them. So, being a good leader, first and the foremost thing you have to understand, Be aware about your shortcomings. Leaders need to know all of their biases, predilections, and weaknesses. That is the first thing which we all need to do as a strong leader, or if we are aspire to become a very strong leader. It's crucial information for a boss to have, but it's not always easy for them to receive such feedbacks from their colleagues and underlines. We always feel very insecure when somebody from our team is trying to put a comment or trying to give us a feedback. If as a leader, it is difficult for you to take it, it means there are a lot of areas you have to work on yourself. Even when they are told they won't face retribution or punishment for their comments, or many people still find it difficult to offer very, very genuine criticism. And the result of it, you will find you always have that army around you, which is either a yes man or a yes boss kind of army, or they don't give any reaction at all because they are so insecure about their comments. Instead, as a great leader, you should try the character trait check. Now, what is this character trait check? Let me tell you. Think of someone you have worked with who, in your opinion, or the opinion of trusted colleagues, was a bad leader or a boss. What were the things they did that caused those negative judgments about them? Try to recollect those phases. And once you recollect those moments, next ask yourself, do you share any of those behaviors? If so, always try to calibrate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, right? So the intensity of your scale will moves on, right? So for example, you don't have any of those behaviors, you can happily pat your back saying that, hey, I'm standing at 0, which is I would say a great thing. But if you're somewhere moving on this ladder, right from 1 to 5 scaling, it means you have to work on yourself. Perhaps you had a leader who kept important information away from her employees, which made it difficult for everyone below her to do their job. And we all know such kind of bosses, male or female, does not matter. All it matters is as long as we are reporting to somebody of this behavior, definitely we are going to face certain consequences. Or maybe you had somebody as a micromanager, everywhere. It's not only about corporates. I think any sector you work today, whether it is government sector, whether it is non-government sector, whether it is any IT, any professional sector we take, we always get into certain consequences where we really miss this piece of called a true leader. We either find somebody who is a micromanager. I mean, they keep an eye on each and everything, and they're just waiting that when you do that one mistake, where they can really, really bang on it. A yeller, someone who played favorites and let everyone know about it. That's the way these people lead their life. That's the way they lead the entire workspace. You probably also experience leaders whose actions were less dramatic or egregious but still determinantal. Maybe they were a vague communicator. I mean, they will always keep things under the wraps. They will never give you a clear cut statement because they always have back of their head insecure reasons that if I speak something, things might not turn out to be great. So they always have this tendency or always have that fear which stops them to be a true leader. Or they always told you that they will get back to you later. I'm sure you all must have heard this kind of statements every now and then. And somehow, very, very vague things happen. This later term somehow never arrived. Right? Funny, but very, very practical. So these simple things in our life actually tells who we are. Are we really a leader, or we are trying to pretend to be a leader? My dear friends, there is a huge difference when we talk about creating a leader and pretending to be like a leader, right? Now, don't be surprised if some of their behavior hit home with you, because we all are human beings and we work into different diverse cultures, right? So certain of their influences will definitely be there on you as well. Don't be afraid of it. What we find bad in others very often resonates with ourselves. Let's not forget it, right? So the irony of life is very simple. You will only praise something in someone when you have the acceptance towards that goodwill in you. You will only find faults in someone when you look at others with that vision. So it's so clear, it's so transparent. You need not to go and ask anybody, hey, what kind of leader I am. You can calibrate yourself by the action you take, by the way you give compliment to people, by the way you pass on your facial expression to people, is basically the reflection of who you are as a human being. And that pretty much sets the tone of who you are as a leader. And as I mentioned before the start, a true leader always lead themselves first. So wherever you find that you are not at all fulfilling the right criteria or the fit of a right leader, nothing to worry about, my friends. We always have a scope of learning, and we should, because it's a never ending process. So always keep yourself open towards learning, because learning from diverse backgrounds, learning from diverse cultured people is the only key which can help all of us to overcome our challenges, to overcome anything which is stopping us our full potential. Sometimes we don't realize simple facts like not interacting with people, becoming egoistic, having a racism, having a bad feeling about somebody actually stops our own real potential to perform the best, right? So now, after you identify your all potential areas of improvement, what you should do, the most important and critical thing I would say here is make a plan or how you will work on them. Because I believe without execution, nothing is in place. Only by daydreaming, only by having a title of a leader will not serve the not serve the purpose at all. All I need to understand is, do I have the solid plan to change myself? It's okay if I have certain shortcomings, accept it and move forward by working on those shortcomings. That's the right move you always have to implement in your life, whether it's your professional life, whether it's your personal life, does not matter at all. Next thing, engage in daily reflection. Now, what is this daily reflection? Most of the people ask me, because slightly a tedious work to look into your own, that whole gamut of work, what you have created for yourself. My suggestion to all of you, my dear friends, just take 5 to 10 minutes to think about your challenges you have recently handled and the ones you will soon going to face. As a leader, you should first catch your own collars. Wherever you go wrong, be slightly harsh on yourself. You should know how to take your own class, because every time you don't find people around you who will come and comment at you or who will tell, hey, this is the wrong way. No, you should become self accountable to yourself. Question yourself, how did my leadership go yesterday? How would the leader I want to be in future? What sort of challenges I would like to face on going forward? What can I do differently on daily basis, which actually sharpens my leadership skills to the best? Next thing which you need to work on, regulate your feelings, because most of the time in our entire workspace, this is one area which we ignore to the most, and that's where we suffer emotionally at all the levels. No matter how much, I would say, it hardly matters when you are with your friends or with your team colleagues. No matter how much preparation you put in, there will be employees, there will be colleagues, there will be clients and associate who anger, frustrate or annoy you for some random reason. Because see, we meet all sort of people, we cannot ignore people at all. All you need to do is you should have acceptance towards them, but your intensity of acceptance is something which you need to be very, very careful about, right? All these moments you face as a leader when you think, stop doing this. That's where the practice of reframing comes in. When those teeth grinding times occur, stop and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important this issue is right now for me. Do I really need to put my head into and mentally and physically disturb myself? If the answer comes no, get out of it. Now, that's the right call you need to understand here. You should engage yourself on this calibration scale. This is a beautiful tool to ensure how you are growing as a leader, right? It finds that many things which actually shatter your calm will be of lesser importance if you really calibrate yourself, right? With anything that is like on a scale of 1 to 10, if you are if you are 6 or lower, either excuse yourself physically, or I would say just avoid that, because that should not be in your life at all. Give yourself a moment to think, how would the leader I aspire to be handle this situation? When you ask this question to yourself, the answer will come to you, my dear friend. Nobody can stop you. All you need to understand is the real calibration of who you are. Because I personally believe I was not like this strong person when I started my journey. There were a lot of mentors, there were a lot of coaches with whom I have gone and asked and taken my learning from them. And all I've understood is why they were successfully driving up their life so well, because they were following certain very good and healthy practices, which in fact I tend to follow on. And it has also given me successful results. So if it can give me successful results, I personally believe if you try, you are also bound to get successful results. Provided that be very, very genuine in implementing your tools. Be genuine while you are just projecting yourself. Are you a real leader or you are pretending? If that's the calibration you can understand about yourself, I think you do justice to who you are as an individual. Because I believe every human being has four endowments: self awareness, conscience, independent will, and creative imaginations. These give us the ultimate human freedom, the power to choose, to respond, and to change. And that's where you create a true leader. On this note, I conclude my topic for the day that true leader first empower themselves, and then they further take the lead to create the right leaders with the right mindset. Thank you so much, everyone, once again. Thank you so much, Rek. Thank you so much, Shali ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. All over to you.
First of all, I should actually compliment you, Sonesh ma'am. Your speech was so full of energy, and each and every word was so inspirational that as it appeared to me as if I was watching a movie. Whatever examples you were giving, whatever, there was series of reflection which was coming to me. Yes, this happened, and this is how this all these phases and happened. So this is something so inspirational, and I believe all the attendees who are listening to your speech right now must have connected to whatever you have spoke, and I'm sure they must have got the serious key takeaways, the insights from you. So I think let's have some interactive question answer round so that to make this session even more interesting. So I think somebody has given me the question and it has come to me, and that person wants to ask that what is the meaning of self leadership?
So, when we talk about self leadership, it is basically balancing you who you are as a human being. As I mentioned, that leadership is not about only having a titles. See, if you are somebody who only believes having a title is called a leader, then you are misinterpreting the term. A
Okay.
leader is somebody who can take responsibility of who you are, first of all. And that's where I always focus on: first, work on self acceptance.
Okay.
If you have the self acceptance in you that, hey, I'm wrong in this area, I'm probably now I can give you a practical example. Most of the time we see like a lot of people come towards me saying that, Sonesh, you speak so powerfully. We
Yeah,
also want to learn this. I said, see, I have invested so much of time, energy, patience, everything in learning this style. It has not come to me
yes,
overnight,
perfect.
right?
Hmm.
So all you need to understand first is you have to have an acceptance that I'm weak in some areas, and then you have to find out the right mentors who can really help you on those areas. And then there is a consistent action orientation approach which you need to take into your consideration. If these three things you do, nobody can stop you to achieve your goals. So self leadership, according to me, you have to balance yourself into 5 areas. First, if you are working, your work area has to be balanced, your personal area has to be balanced, you have your family, that area has to be balanced, your finances has to be balanced. Spiritually, which most of the time we ignore because we feel spirituality is all about meditation, dhyana and all jnana. It's not
Yes,
about that. Spirituality is a way of life. Please understand, it balances you. If you really understands that, it is the high time that we start practicing those things in our practice. And I think in my last session I took a session on spirituality at workplace.
mhm.
Somebody asked me a very deep question there, that, ma'am, please tell us that how can we do that, because we are corporate individuals, in corporate these things never works. I said, boss, things works when you have a willingness to work, otherwise nothing works. It hardly matters if you're into a corporate or if you're out of a
Very
corporate.
true.
It's so simple, right? So it's not about that things cannot be changed, things can be 100% changed. But my question is, do you have a willingness to accept your mistakes
Yes.
first? If that is, you can do it, I'm telling you, nobody can stop you, because then you start working on your all areas. I have this, I have this, I have this as my shortcoming. So one by one, you start picking your areas, start working on those areas, and that's how you beautifully evolve from inside out. Now that's the
Commendable. I
mantra.
think you have very well answered the question on self leadership and why it is so important. But Sonesh, I have just got one important word from your answer, and that is self acceptance. So, my next question is how self acceptance in leadership can change our life?
So simple. Again, I would like to quote one example here. For example, somebody is having lot of egoistic issue.
Yeah.
It's not like they're not performers, which usually happens at the workplace, right? We have seen, if we are reporting to somebody, let's see, sometime it so happen. I'll give you a very classic example. If
Mhm.
my boss, let's assume that that person is not so capable in the sense I'm talking about communication wise, but
Yes.
he's a very well, I would say, is a task oriented leader who
Mhm.
knows how to get the task done. He's very powerful in that. But probably his communication side is not that great. I have a very strong hold on my communication, but I also have a second loophole in me that is called I don't know how to achieve my goal.
Perfect.
So now here we have to, rather than having an egoistic approach, I should have a very willingness approach of learning from this leader how I can just, fulfill my the second column of to get my goals done. And if this person is also willing, definitely he can come and ask me, irrespective of titles, hey Sunesh, I really love the way how you just, talk. Can you
Yeah.
just suggest me something? So in this way, we complement each other's strengths
So, this
and
is
we help each
a
other's
give
weaknesses.
and take from each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So somewhere I feel people don't go into this because their titles stop them so much, their ego stop them so
Yes.
much, and especially if bosses, they love to, they desperately want actually somebody should help them, but somehow their titles stops
Yes.
them very often, you know. And that's where I always tell, if you really want to think out of box, and if you really want to turn out to be a very strong leader, you have to do something which so far you have never done in your life, right? Then only people will call you, you are unique. Then only people will say, yes, you have created something for yourself.
Perfect, perfect. So this I really liked it. You know, the approach of self acceptance. That if you want to learn something, what shed your ego, be a down to earth person, and then go ahead, because it's a mutual platform of learning and sharing. You share your knowledge and you learn something from the other. I think then and then only one can become the perfect leader. So now
True.
the next question which has come to me is, one of the participants wants to know that are the leaders born or made?
Okay, so I think this is something for me is a quite a good story. Like whether the hen come first or the chicken come first. You know, people always get dicey about this story, right? Okay, so let me tell you, by birth, certain characteristics you will inherit, right? And there are certain characteristics which can always be developed once you are in that environment. So I would say that it's not about that leaders are by birth born.
Mhm. Correct.
It's a skill which you need to develop in yourself. There are certain traits which you will get by birth, but there are certain traits which you need to work as in the form of skill set. Now
As you,
those
no,
skills.
no, as you explained in one of your previous answers, that if somebody says, Sonesh, you are a wonderful orator, uh, how can you be a wonderful orator? Please teach us. But then you gave the answer, I was not a born orator. You
Very
know,
true,
I
very true,
also went through years and years of, I have invested my time, energy, my mentors, and everything. That means you also got polished over
very
the
true.
period of time. And then you have mastered this.
Absolutely. so so all I say is, don't just keep that into your mind and saying that key leaders are born, I cannot be a leader. No, you have to understand certain characteristics. Wherever you are, you have to accept yourself from there, and now further from that level you start working on your areas very focusedly, that who you want to be in your life. If your goal is to become a very powerful, for example, a speaker, you want to become a very powerful leader in your organization, please develop those traits. Observe
Perfect.
people around you. That's the right way of learning.
Correct, correct. Now I have a question from Dr. Vishali. She
Yes.
says, what if there is no mentor to guide us? How can we stand alone and develop those skill of leadership? Wonderful question, Dr. Vishali. Very
I,
honest, genuine
I
also.
love it. I love it.
No
See, I
mentors.
yes, it so happened because couple of my journeys also I have traveled alone, and let me tell you what has worked out for me. I do a lot of self assessment. To be very honest, I always keep myself my me time where I sit alone with my cup of tea, my books, and my notepad. This is what I do.
Yes,
I sit
yes.
in my balcony, I write everything on that piece of paper, I start typing it out. Question number one, point number two, point number three, point number four, where I stand, where I want to be, what is the gapping, what is stopping me. I write all these and keep scribbling, scribbling. Sometimes it does not even make sense, I tear it off, but I enjoy doing that, right? Because that pretty much, put my heart very light when I write, because I don't find any mentor around me, and I every time I can't have mentor, to be very honest,
Yes,
right?
perfect.
So what I do, I just do this methodology. This helps me out. Secondly, this gives me a clear picture also, where and how I'm supposed to proceed. Then what I do, I pick the right set of books. I read a lot.
That is
So
the best
books,
habit. Yeah.
I'll tell you, books are your best therapy, or
Friend.
you can say medicine, I would say rather. When you don't find in and around you, don't get disappointed. I'm telling you, in the best space. And the best space is you pick your book relevantly, and then what do? You start picking only one topic. Don't read that book whole in one day. Don't do this mistake at all, right? What you should do is keep yourself a duration of 7 days or 10 days, and
Mhm.
every day you just pick one article or one chapter out of it. Sufficient. Just understand and absorb what is written there. You will be able to connect to those areas so well. And definitely when you read a lot of books written by a lot of experts in the market, there are very good authors in the market who are doing fantastically good in terms of empowering people, in terms of giving them the right direction. So I think somewhere you will connect to those dots when you are able to relate, where you have that blank.
Yes.
So books helps you to fill that gap eventually. And please
Positive.
make a habit of writing. I'm telling you, sometime even you just waste your paper, don't worry about it,
No,
just do
but
it. It's a
I
fantastic.
love this self introspection which you talked about yourself, because unless and until we don't self analyze ourselves, who will tell us our mistakes? Because we are the best to judge ourselves.
True.
Where we did go wrong, what was the folly, what was the plus point, what was the negative point, what is my strength, what is my weakness. Suppose if I have a bad day today, please sit down as you are sitting in your balcony and then analyzing yourself in a piece of paper. Why? What happened to me today? Why it was a sad day? what
Right.
what was the mistake I did? And then try to overcome, because what I believe, improvisation should always be there. You should
Absolutely.
understand your weakness, your strength. Why don't we do the SWOT analysis? just want to
Absolutely.
meditate on ourselves and then reach to some conclusion so that next time we don't, commit that particular mistake. Now I request some fresh questions coming from our attendees over here. Can we have a question from Naren Kumar Sinha, Ms. Alka, Ismat Farzana, Hedi Rahi, Deepa Keswani, Najat Ahmed, Zazia Bidi, Kuala Mirish? This is quite an interesting topic, and I believe if some interesting questions come up, then it will be a stupendous session before we wind up. Yeah, can I expect some questions from the viewers, from our attendees? Because we have almost covered such an interesting topic by ma'am and a couple of questions also. And ma'am has perfectly given us the answers to those questions. Okay, Sonesh, what I believe that a couple of traits in a good leader, which I can sum listening to your speech is, I think, compassion, confidence in themselves and their team, great communication skill. And this is the first one, and I liked it because unless and until you don't have a communication skill, you cannot become a good leader, because you need to put your point across the people. You need to convince the people across. So according to me, communication skill should be the great one. And next, the ability to make tough decision, because a leader is a leader. Leader cannot be soft, leader cannot be weak. You have to take the tough decision, and the desire to serve a purpose greater than themselves. The ability to foster a creative environment and then lead by example. So this is what I gathered from your speech, from your presentation, what you have given me. So I think, thank you so much, Sonesh, for
Dr. Shelley, I
enlightening.
also want to
Yes.
mention one thing.
Yeah.
I think Deepa has one question here. Is it true that boss has right to be wrong?
Yeah, is it true that boss has right to be wrong?
I
Yes.
think I think telepathically I read the same question because I was about to shoot on to the same statement. Okay, so
Mhm.
sometime it so happened that we as a leaders, okay, we don't find right ways to project our thoughts or most likely our decision making capabilities in front of our teams, because sometimes we are so stuck we don't know what to talk to our teams, and that's a very genuine problem with certain leaders, right? And let me tell you, there is not a question of right or wrong. As a leader, if you can accept yourself that somewhere you are stuck, please be open and transparent to it. I feel sometimes we as leaders mask ourselves because we feel if I become vulnerable to my team members, then they might start mocking me out. Let me tell you, if you are accepting certain your flaws in front of your team, that is not about that you are a weak leader. That's the point which pretty much sets the tone of that you are somebody who can accept openly in front of everybody who you are. And that's the real characteristics of a leader. You will find very rare this quality of leaders, because most of, even you move the ladder from anywhere to anywhere. I found a lot of the time people do masking because masking is their mantra. Masking is something they feel secure. Let me tell you, true leaders need not to mask themselves. When things are not going right, absolutely you can be open with your team saying that, team, right now I think we need to change our direction, or probably we need to change our strategies because things are not going the way it should be. And as a leader, I think it's our responsibility to give them the right picture of where we are standing. Very, very important, because a true leader should
Correct.
cannot move with the masking stuff. You cannot just keep your team into delusion or illusion that they are figuring out what our leader is trying to say. Is it trying to say we are right? Is it trying to say we are not right? Where is the confusion? And your whole team is badly stuck, and your timelines are just time bouncing on time clock, and you as a leader is completely stuck because you mask so badly. You feel some magic will happen, some miracle will happen. My dear friends, miracle has to happen from you because you are a real miracle.
Yes, yes,
Right?
very much correct, very much correct. And I think you have given the justice to this question. And can I have some other questions from the guest? Can I have one question from Dr. Malka Grewal? Leaders takes the team along. A true leader needs to be humble. Leaders need no masking. Yes, this for these all points have been covered Greatly said. Yeah, can I have some other questions because we are about to wind the session? Okay, that's great. That's great. So I believe due to the time constraint, we cannot take the session ahead, but it was no doubt a wonderful, invigorating session. I could not realize when it was 6 and when it is 6:41 by now because it was non-stop, non-stop, non-stop going. So I thank you so much, Sonesh, ma'am, for an enlightening and entertaining power dose of thoughts and perspectives. And I really appreciate the spice and seasoning of your leadership thoughts, which you try to prove with various examples. So we are looking forward to having you yet again as a guest and at Rec Talks. And I think you will always be excited to join us back because we can't leave such a great motivational speaker and a coach who is bringing the fresh topics to our session. So thank you once again, ma'am, for giving us the
So
great insight to this
from my side, I think, Dr. Shelley, your energy, the way you have moderated this whole event and today's evening was fantabulous. So, because according to me, being a moderator is not an easy job. It's something sets the tone of the whole event, and you are really bang on it.
Oh,
So, I
thank
think
you. Thank you
your
so much, Suresh.
yeah, your energy has pretty much resonated with the frequency which I was looking out, and so amazing. So once again, thank you so much, Dr. Shelley, for inviting me on this platform. And secondly, I would love to thank my Rec Partech platform, Dr. Ratish Gupta, for this wonderful opportunity.
Yes.
Last but not the least, always my viewers and listeners who always take some time to hear us. So please stay blessed, take care of yourself. I'll see you guys again on our next show. So till then, stay tuned. Love, light, and abundance to all of you. Take care of yourself.
And before we say tata bye bye to all our audience, I have a request to each one of you to please join us on the Kids Captivation Series 3, which we are bringing tomorrow at 6 p.m. live on
Great.
Zoom. Kids Captivation Series 3, given by Sonia Achantani ma'am, who is a regional coordinator from Gujarat. So don't forget to watch all of us. Stay tuned. Block your date tomorrow, 6 p.m. So with this, we all sign out from Rec Platform. Good evening to all of you. Stay blessed. Keep smiling. Keep rocking, all of you. Bye-bye for the day.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care of yourself.